Everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I am Gordo Gambles, joined by my beauty of a co-host, Kiro. How are we doing today, my friend?
Pretty good. I think we're feeling good. Coming off a decent week. We got a lot of stuff right last weekend. Got a couple things wrong. The Heinisch thing didn't go our way, but we live on, we move forward. You don't get everything right, even sometimes when you're confident about stuff. So I think we had a pretty good week. And on a nice little roll here with the UFC.
You know what? Only three favorites won the entire night of fights, and the rest were underdog wins. We were able to predict a lot of the high scoring ones. In our core lineup we posted on Twitter, all four top scoring players.
That is true.
Happy to do that. We will bounce back this week, and somewhat of a lackluster card.
Yeah.
It's got to be the worst card of 2021.
Mm-hmm. I bet there's a lot of people in the UFC that don't know a single name on this card.
A lot of casuals, right? No. The thing that I like to find with this is, even with those no-name cards, you tend to have a lot of finishes because people are fighting for their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They're going ham. They're going to give it all they got.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm loving from a DraftKings perspective. There's some super high salaries, 9.6K all the way down to 6.5K today. I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. The first core play that I'm liking today is going to be Rafa Garcia at $9.5 thousand. He's fighting a guy in Guchenmatter who's he's got some flaws. We saw him come off a huge layoff, get knocked out right away by Hernandez last time out, and Garcia put up a great fight against Nasrat Haqparast, who was insanely tough to face, especially on a UFC debut. Now, Garcia has a lot of wins by submission, which is a way that Schmecker has lost a lot recently, and it's one of these spots where even though he's so expensive, Garcia has such a clear path to victory that it's an easy pay-up option because he should get the finish today. And got the huge advantage on the ground. I think he even has the advantage on the feet. So an early submission win is definitely on the table. A lot of points to be scored. And out of all the payoff options, is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, definitely an option that's sounding good this week. That's for sure.
Now, at such a high price tag at 9.5K, we are going to need some value options. What is our favorite value option this week?
Well, first fantastic value play this week, Nicholas Stultze. It happens sometimes with DraftKings, right? Their salaries come out pretty early, and if somebody drops out of a fight super close to the fight date, they keep that salary on DraftKings, which is something that we, as the people making our DFS lineups, can take advantage of, right? We got a replacement coming in. Stultze is now a pretty big favorite in this fight, fighting Gooden, who came in on short notice. He's only had a few days to prepare. He didn't have the training camp. He hasn't had the time to game plan against Stultze. And Stultze now, big favorite, but at a very small salary here at $7,000. So an awesome option. This is almost a must-have in all of your lineups, given this salary point and how big of a favorite he is in this fight.
And that's the thing. When we have a fighter who's favored, especially the way that Stultze is, and you can get him at 7K, he's going to be super high owned. It's no secret. But it's one guy that you're going to have in your lineup because he will most likely be on the optimal lineup.
Yeah, we say some people are must includes in some of your lineups, but this guy really is a must include in a lot of your lineups. You have to have this guy high owned no matter what kind of DFS you're playing.
And getting someone as cheap as him, you're able to pay up for another one of my favorite options in Ronnie Lawrence this weekend. The guy is a takedown machine. He's very comparable to a Rob Dvalishvili, even though no one's like Marlon. So let's not get too crazy yet, but he averages so many takedowns. He averages over 10 takedowns per 15 minutes, which is unseen in the UFC. He is just relentless. He's facing a guy in Trevin Jones who has had the ability to pull off some pretty crazy upsets recently, but this is not Jones's fight to win here. Lawrence is lethal on the ground and has some okay striking as well. So it's one of those things where if you're Ronnie Lawrence and you're able to rack up 5, 10, 15 takedowns in a fight like this, you're going to score super high. On a slate like this, when there's not a lot of guarantees, he's one of my favorite spots where I'm sure I'm going to get value out of him.
Yeah, an awesome pay-up option.
Another pay-down option I like this week is going to be Phil Rowe at 7.4K. Now, I know he's fighting Kosuke, who's a very promising prospect, but Phil Rowe's going to have a 9-inch reach advantage, and he is very, very underrated on the mat. Kosuke does like his takedowns, he does like to grind it out, he does have better cardio than his brother does, but he does make a lot of mistakes on the mat, and we've seen how lethal Rowe can be. Now, is it an absolute smash play? It's going to be a high owner to all my underdogs, but he's not an absolute lock here. Phil Rowe is going to have the disadvantage on the feet. He is going to be able to be taken down, but if Kosuke does make those mistakes, if he does tire in the late rounds, I see Rowe being able to submit him. I see Rowe being able to catch him in something that Kosuke being sloppy on the ground will permit. So 7.4K, because Kosuke is going to have to fight into that reach advantage, it's going to be a... Now, if we look at the main event, How high owned are we going to be on this weekend?
This main event this weekend is one that we're not really going to be trying to target too much. I mean, Strickland is a big favorite here, and we believe that he's going to win this fight. We think that it's going to happen, but given the price discrepancy between these two guys, we don't see a ton of value on his side. If you're going to go for that pay-up option, we've already talked about some better options that maybe you want to go with this week, as opposed to going for Strickland at that 9,300 price tag. And at the same time, Uriah Hall with the 6,900 price tag, we don't necessarily see value on that side. We don't think he's going to have that kind of upside that sometimes underdogs at that price tag have. So not necessarily somebody that we want to target this week. If you feel strongly about one of these two guys, then go ahead and put them in some of your lineups. But in terms of a lot of value, we don't see a ton here.
Yeah, and whereas we see that Hall could maybe get a flash K or something that would score very high, it's not as likely. I think Strickland does piece him apart here. He's got a great boxing stance, but if you're going to pay 9.3K for Strickland, I'd rather pay up for 9.5 for Garcia, 9.6 for Barberena. Speaking of Barberena, man, he's facing a guy in Witt who has a glass chin. He is another option I do like. 9.6K is something we rarely see unless we're talking minutes. So I think that he is also live in this spot. I won't have him in every single lineup because he is so expensive, but Witt does have a glass chin, so it is very conceivable that Barberena gets him out there within 10 seconds. A lot of good pay-up options this week. It's a very questionable midfield here. Like a few fights I don't want to hit. Definitely fading the Cheyenne buys. Probably going to fade the Kang fight. Fading Yoder for sure. So if we're looking at value on this card, it lies at Stultze, Rowe, maybe Hall for a punt play, but it's one of these cards where you just sit back and relax. It's such a sketchy card. I have a video out probably by the time this video goes up with Phoenix MMA talking about the whole fight from a betting perspective. It's definitely sketchy. I'd play very lightly if you're betting this card, but we threw out a bunch of good options we like. Make sure to hit the like button down below and message us if you have any questions. Hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, and yeah, let's make some money.